Hello, Internet. So, love thyself. You know, I know it's always a love thy neighbor, but if you go into the like the actual scripture, and again, I'm not really a religious person, but you know, a lot of religious texts do have useful information, knowledge, wisdom, whatever you want to call it. If you go into the actual scriptures, love thy neighbor as thyself, meaning you got to love yourself first. And you know, the reason I'm on this topic instead of the how to read a scientific paper or whatever I will get to that. But I actually got to thinking after last week's episode about a few of the things that I said about, you know, like the psychology of why people get addicted to fast food, and you know, that one saying that I absolutely hate, well, you gotta die of something, or that statement right there lacks self-love. And okay, let's like elaborate on what self-love is. It's not like you know, I love me so much. Ooh. Sorry, I just realized that if we took that clip out of context, it would be hilarious. Just like post that on Instagram. That like 1 second clip of. Anyway, that's not it. It's, you know, oh, what was the guy's name? The guy who wrote Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules of Life. One of the rules, I can't remember which one. I should have the book here to use as a visual aid, or I could actually look through it to find out which rule it is, but it raises the question, why are people more likely to remember medication for their pets than for themselves? And he goes into like some long-winded 150 million page analysis of like historical accounts, and I skipped around a lot. The bottom line is we don't like ourselves. And I think there are like several different facets to this. I mean, I think the first one is, oh, you're supposed to give and give and give and give and give and just care about other people, and you put other people before yourself. Okay, let's destroy that idea with a little thought experiment. Like, you're out in the wilderness, and let's say it's like a group of 3 people. You're like one of 3 people. You're out in the wilderness, no food anywhere, except for what you have on you. You know, like protein bars and Gatorade or whatever you took out there with you. Okay, the concept of, you know, just put other people before yourself. And oh yeah, by the way, there's some people down that way playing with motorcycles, so it's going to get noisy. Anyway, the concept of put others people before yourself would have all 3 of these people, including you, giving up all their food to everyone else, so nobody eats. Everybody starves, even though there's food right there. Now, if we ignore the extreme case of that, you're basically giving your food to everybody else in the group. You starve, they live. Now let's try a different thought experiment. You're out in the wilderness, again, with, you know, like, it's 3 people, you and 2 others. There's no food anywhere except for what you brought with you, except you have already eaten your food. You have no food, they have food. Well, you're supposed to care about other people before yourself, so you're supposed to somehow help them eat even though you can't feed yourself. There are things that, I mean, there are good parts to altruism, but altruism can be taken too far. Take it too far, and you basically wind up killing yourself to help other people. That's not altruism, that's martyrdom. And it's... And here's where we get into like the other facet of why I think people don't like themselves as much as they should. Is we've developed this society where we worship martyrs. Martyrdom is the thing that you want to strive for. It's like it is. I mean, to borrow an expression from Vulcan terminology, it's just not logical. You know, like think about Mother Teresa. You know, you're feeding all those homeless, diseased children. She's got to feed herself first. And I know she passed away like about a decade ago or something, so I shouldn't be using the present tense, but grammar Nazism aside, you can't feed people who are starving until you feed yourself. You got to be a little selfish before you can be selfless. So this whole idea of you have to give and give and give and give and never receive, never take, you know, it puts us in the mindset that whenever we take anything, we're being bad. Sometimes you're being selfish, outright selfish. I mean, like this past week at work, one of the people I got that I work with got back from vacation, and he's like, "Well, have you taken your vacation yet? You get paid, you know." We have like 2 people in the dish pit, me and another guy. And his argument is, you know, well, they leave you back here alone so many times, you let them take a turn. It's, you know, there's being necessarily selfish to benefit your own survival, and then there's being needlessly selfish, you know, screwing over other people just so you can get more than you need. And okay, technically I do need a vacation from that place. 6 days a week, and I'm not going to get into that. You know, I try to leave the stress out of these videos. And I just realized I kind of made a little jab at Jordan Peterson for taking an extremely long-winded approach to describing this topic, and here I'm doing the exact same thing. Anyway, we built a society where we like worship martyrdom, and we think that's what we're supposed to strive for, but it's not logical. You need to take care of yourself a little bit before you can take care of other people. Be a little selfish before you can be selfless. And it's I think another aspect of what's going on here, why people don't like themselves as much as they should, is just like basic human psychology. Our brains are wired to focus on the negative. You know, like right now, I mean, you can't see it because it's behind the camera, but I mean, there's like this field of tall grass because, I mean, we've been getting rain, and grass grows after you rain. After you rain? After it rains. And, well, it's kind of warm weather, so the snakes are about. So, yeah, there could be snakes in all that grass out there. And, by the way, I had to walk through it to get out to this recording. I'm insane. And I gotta walk back through it to get to my car. Again, I'm insane. But I mean, it's human nature to like focus on, okay, there could be something that could be dangerous in all these little hiding places. And I think we also turn that internally as well. You know, we like overly criticize ourselves, and you know, did I really need to be that selfish? Did I really need to take that? You know, did I really need to take advantage of that person's generosity? Did I need to do that? It's like we overly judge ourselves and overly criticize ourselves for, I mean, and in a lot of cases, yeah, you are unnecessarily selfish. And I don't mean, I'm not singling anybody out specifically, and really there are occasions when I'm a little selfish, especially when I get stressed, which I try to leave out of these videos, so I won't go into that. But we turn that like the eye toward the negative inward and judge ourselves a little too harshly, and like forget to look at the good things that we're doing, and we wind up having this like disproportionate comparison. You know, like we did this many bad things, but only this many good things. Except it's probably more like 50-50, unless you're just a horrible human being. And yeah, bring this back around to you know, like what I was talking about last week. Well, we all gotta die of something. Yeah, that statement is laced with, it's like almost a passive aggressive way of saying, I want to get through this life as quickly as possible. I want to have as much fun as possible. Like you're almost saying you don't deserve a long life. See, it's completely lacking self-love. And I know I've been talking about self-loathing, but I should be talking about self-love. But, I mean, you got to expose the problem before you can start fixing it. And really the way you fix it is, don't be so hard on yourself, first of all. I mean, I'm in this paid group. It's kind of a personal coaching program, and we do business strategy and like talk about human psychology and stuff. And one of the homework assignments in this group is at the end of every month, we record a video where we talk about the wins we've had in that month. And in fact, I just finished recording that video for April. And basically the assignment is intended to force us to look at the things that we're doing, the things that we're accomplishing, the good things that we're doing, so they pay less attention to like the negative things, the things where we screw up. And here's the thing, there's a difference between screwing up and just being outright horrible. You know, like you steal somebody's money, that's outright horrible. But, you know, like you attempt a business venture and you lose money, I mean, that, yeah, it hurts, but, you know, it happens, you know. And there's an airplane flying overhead, completely messing up my audio. It's really, wow, it's low. I think it's like somebody's personal airplane and they're out joyriding or something. Anyway, like, don't be so hard on yourself. Whenever you do anything, you're going to have a loss every now and then. It's just like a law of nature. You're not going to win 100% of the time. You know, if you play D&D or anything that involves rolling dice to determine what your character does, sometimes you roll a 1. It happens. You got to get used to it. And you can't judge yourself harshly. See, a lot of people would be like, would look at me flubbing my words and saying the wrong words, and they're like, why do you try to do YouTube? That's horrible. You should get better. I don't care. Sometimes when you screw up, you have to put it in perspective. Did the world end? No. Is everybody still alive? Yes. Does everybody still have 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes? Yes. Okay, moving on. You know, unless a screw up causes like some horrible damage, it's not that bad. Just gotta keep on rolling. I did either a video or an Instagram post on that. You know, sometimes life is going to punch you in the face and you just got to get up and keep going. And sometimes you will trip over your own feet and fall on your face, and you just got to get up and keep going. You can't judge yourself too harshly and criticize yourself and beat yourself up for just like the natural failures that are going to happen. And like one of my mentors always says, there's no such thing as failure, just results you don't like. And every result is something you can learn from. So I think that's part of the recipe to self-love. And by the way, full disclaimer, I kind of struggle with self-love because I am a bit of a perfectionist. The not editing thing, that really helps. If I needed every single one of these videos to be, like perfect down to every single vowel, I would not get a single one produced. I would still be working on my very first video. But you gotta like loosen up and not overly criticize yourself. And another part is like realize sometimes there's a difference between doing things that are good for you and doing things that feel good. Like exercise doesn't feel good, but it's good for you. Unless you have like some horrible health condition that prevents you from exercising. In which case, not exercising is probably good. And no, you don't have that. Like 5% of the people in the world have something like that. If you can stand on your own 2 feet and walk to the other side of the room without getting winded, you can exercise. To some extent. I mean, you're probably not going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you can at least take a walk. Get up off the couch. The irony is that I was just talking about not editing these videos, and I had to edit out a little part where I had to review everything I had already said. And I was like, okay, did I say this? Did I say this? Did I say this? Did I say this? Like I said, there are like several different facets to this whole self-love thing, and again, I struggle with it. I do criticize myself very likely more than I should. See, there I go again. I'm trying to justify my self-criticism. I mean, you got to realize you're not going to be perfect. Every now and then, screw-ups are going to happen, and yes, you need to do things that are good for you, not things that feel good. Cake tastes, well, it tastes good to some people. I can't stand the taste of sugar. But some people can't get enough. And by the way, sugar is addictive. Break that addiction. That's one of those things that's good for you but doesn't feel good. Breaking an addiction to something that's bad for you, like too much sugar. I mean, you need sugar because the human brain runs only on glucose. But you also need some fat because your muscles run only on free fatty acids. And while you can synthesize fatty acids from sugar, it's better if you get the fat. And yeah, I know cake is fattening. It's really fattening because of the sugar. It's like it has so much sugar that you have to store it, but your liver and brain can only store so much sugar as glycogen. After that, it's storing it as fat. But getting away from the biology lesson, and yeah, I have a master's degree in biology, so of course I want to go down the biology rabbit hole. But how long have I been talking? Almost 20 minutes. Okay, so the bullet points, the TLDR, or the TLDW. I had another one of those moments where I had to collect my thoughts. What all have I talked about? This is one of those complicated topics. Anyways, the bullet points. Stop being so hard on yourself. Stop psychologically punishing yourself for every single failure. And, just do more things that are good for you and less things that just feel good. Or more specifically, less things that make you feel good. Like getting lost in Game of Thrones or Walking Dead for 10 hours on your weekend probably not good for you. I mean, yeah, it helps escape your reality, but you got to go back to your reality at some point. And I think one little facet of the whole human self-loathing kind of thing that I forgot to mention in the first part is I think we've achieved as a species this kind of global awareness of our impact on everything around us. And we look at the wars and the animals that we're causing to go extinct, and pollution and deforestation and things like that. And I've got ants crawling on me. Okay. Anyway, we look at that and we're just a horrible thing upon blight upon this planet. And I'm going to pull another rule from the 12 Rules of Life, Jordan Peterson. I think it's the last rule, Rule 12. And I can't remember the exact words, but if you see a cat in the street, stop to pet it. And while the actual topic of that chapter is enjoy the good things while they're happening, there's this one little aside where it's talking about the difference between cats and dogs. Dogs have been trained to stay with us and stay loyal and obey us and all that. Cats, they can't be trained. They do what they want to do. And if you know anything about cats, you're nodding your head right now. But cats choose to stay around us. In other words, a tiny part of nature has decided that we're not so bad after all. So you know what? You're not that bad after all.